Hey, it's Lowery Smith of the Commander Smiths here with searching for the Spotlight Anikthea Hand of Erebos. Looking to make this deck today and getting it pretty close to done. I am starting off with about 100 fewer cards, so this first part of going through should go a lot quicker than normal. Anikthea, Hand of Erebos, is two and a white and a black and a green for a 4 menace. Other enchantment creatures you control also have menace, and whenever Anikthea enters the battlefield or attacks, exile up to one target non-aura enchantment card from your graveyard. Create a token that's a copy of that card, except it's a 3/3 black zombie creature in addition to its other types. So what I started out with here is, Menace is cool. You want the enchantments. Had a lot of different sagas in here, which makes sense, but that ends up making them go away too, I believe. Um, and I had a lot of Zombie Matters cards in here to start out with. I was up to 300 plus cards, and I got this down. I'm around 150 now. We'll see where we're at as I'm going through all the cards, but um it's kind of a cool idea. It's a cool card. You could do a little bit of blinking. You can have the attack triggers. You can double up on the triggers, um, double up on tokens. So there's some different ways to go. I almost went in hard on the zombie theme, but then it was like you need a lot of enchantments to make this work. And so a lot of it ended up getting cut here. Let me see if I can straighten out what the fuck is going on here. All right, that's better. Um, so NXT is cool. Tags. All right. Commander Smiths is a podcast that records live every Monday night. You can watch us on YouTube here. It's a lot of fun. You can buy us shots. You can join the Patreon, which gets you into our Discord at least $1. But we give away proxies that Adam makes for higher tiers. If you are interested, our Discord's rad, cool, and awesome. And we enjoy anybody. And if you're not watching this live, I suggest going at about 1.5 speed. I don't talk that fast, so you'll catch everything anyway. And probably easy to watch it in the, or, not watch it in the car, but listen in the car or when you're building decks, gives you ideas. Also, I try and use some different cards, although a lot of them have been cut. I might go through this stack of cards, which the cards that I cut beforehand doing this. So, but just to give more ideas and different card choices and stuff like that. All right, let's start off with probably mana. So these are the categories that I've been able to cut it down to. I had two extra categories over there that I've kind of been able to shrink down, but I go with mana, which I like to have in the 15 to 20 range, drawing 15 to 20 range. They're both my biggest piles to pull from at this point. Removal, this is protection, which is stacked. That's way I need to get it down to like that. So that's probably where a lot of the cuts are going to come from. Removal right here. I don't even know. Probably, 10 spot, whatever works. We have some recursion. That's going to have to get cut down big time as well. There's a lot of cuts, plenty of cuts going on. This section right here is kind of boosts, stuff like that. There's a small token making range here. We'll go through that. And then also the ability to make more tokens of the tokens that I have, because making more, you know, Zendikar Resurgence or Nyx Bloom Ancient sounds fun. And so if they're 3/3 tokens, and then you can populate them or whatever that is, myriad them. Hey, that's doing some work for you. What's up, Jesus? Thanks for joining. Start going through my collection and building a deck for an EDH league. Man, you're active in your league, and that's awesome. I love it. Um, and your decks are always so aggressive. You're, would you jury? Oh, jury. Yeah, the one that sacrifices and then when it dies, deals damage for the power that it is. I almost had jury go into my Balrog list, but I think it ended up getting cut. but Jerry can do some major damage there. Um, remember share, like, subscribe. Subs help us out a ton. We just started getting monetized. And watch the ads if you so wish, but you can click through them. But yeah, likes help out a ton. That would be appreciated for sure. Let's start off with our mana ramp packages. We'll take a look at it. And so this is where I'm going to go through and just talk about all the cards that we're considering, and then we'll cut as we go potentially. We'll see what happens. But Nyx Bloom Ancient, it's an enchantment that's also a creature. So when it attacks, it will have Menace from Anikthea, and that can also be a route that you go. Like just have a stack it full of enchantment creatures that are enchantments, not auras. And then they all gain menace, and then you have a menace deck that's hard to block and stuff like that. So, um, kind of working with that. But Nyx Bloom Ancient is tripling your mana for whatever's it's crazy good card. We'll try and make that in here. Zendikar Resurgent doubles your mana, and then whenever you cast a creature spell, draw a card. I don't know how relevant that's going to be. I'm gonna have to check how many actual creatures we have. There's going to be the Enchantress style cards, which are cool. Um, let's see here. A lot of fat creatures to fling. Yeah. Uh Jesus building Anikthea, Hand of Erebos. So menace, enchant creatures you control have menace, and then bringing back enchantments from the yard. So now that I'm even talking about it with Zendikar Resurgent, it's a fat enchantment. I think we could probably just cut that right now. So I can always bring it back. That's fine. Sword of Hearth and Home. It gives Anikthea, I'll leave that there. Gives Anikthea some protection from green and white, but also the that blink and ramp is great in here because Anikthea is an ETB, so you can just blink it and have another enchantment that you have come into play. So I like that in here. Miri's Wake doubles mana, gives everything +1/+1 that you control. It's in the precon, but it's perfect in there as well. Starheim Courser, it reduces the cost of enchantment spells by 1. That's kind of a thing here. Maybe you can start running through and casting a lot of enchantments, which is nice. Courser of Crufix, enchantment creature, allows you to play lands off the top. You do have to reveal it, but landfall gain 1 life. So it basically is looking it because it's a bit of ramp with some other cards, but also just an enchantment creature. You want some of those. Um, Omen of the Hunt, 3 mana, flash, ETBs, go get a basic land into play tapped. This is kind of replacing the sorceries that are so stapled to green, like Farseek, 3 visits, and Nature's Chosen. Is that it? And so it sacrifices itself. I want enchantments that do sacrifice themselves to be able to get them in the yard and then brought back with Anikthea. But it's should work. Same thing, the Weather Seed Treaty, ET 3 mana saga. When it comes into play, go get a basic land and play tapped. Also creates a token and then gives a bit of a boost. So that'll be in there. Dryad of the Elysian Grove allows you to play an additional land each turn, which is nice because enchantresses tend to get rolling. They can if you have enough of them out. And so being able to play more mana is nice. And also color fixes, yeah. Colony Heart Expedition sacrifices itself to go get 2 basic lands, landfall, getting counters on it. So it should end up in the graveyard pretty nice. Arcane Signet, yeah, gets you any mana. Sanctum Weaver is going to be great. It taps, adds mana for all the enchantments that you have. It's going to be good. Composer of Spring was a new card in the precon. I'll get to you. And then whenever you have an enchantment come into play, not an enchantment, should say, is an enchantment, but not an enchantment, but whenever you have an enchantment come into play, you can put a land from your hand into play tapped. And if you control 6 or more enchantments, instead you can put a creature or land card into play tapped. So this should be fun. It's cheap. It's a bit of a blocker. I'm gonna enjoy that quite a bit. Jesus is saying Eldrazi Displacer or email would be good for Blink 2 and lets to reset the enchantments when they're creatures. No, so what happens is that's something that I missed or I didn't say it. So you are exile up to one target non-aura creature. So it's a token when it's in play, not the enchantment. So you can't blink the enchantments to reset it per se. Um, and so they go away when you bring them out with Anikthea. So that is the downside, but it's more of a token deck at that point instead of a blink deck. So it blink is going to be sparing, more of like a protection thing, or can be aggressive if you need it to be. In my mind, that's kind of where we're going to be there. Herald of the Pantheon reduces enchantment spells by one, and then whenever you cast an enchantment spell, gain a life. That's another route that I have cut out, but you could make this into a gain life deck, which would be dope. I think that'd be fun. But I did not really go that way because we've already talked about a couple of cards. Um, Courser of Crufix is a gain lifer, and then Herald of the Pantheon are, and there's a handful more, but they're not there for the life gain. Starfield of Mystic reduces enchantment spells by one, and then whenever an enchantment you control is put in the graveyard, put 1/1 counter on it. So this should be able to get big. It works really well with what's going on. Jukai Naturalist, Lifelink, another part of that gaining life, but enchantment spells cost one less. It's cheap. Might make it. It might not be doing enough. I don't know. I don't know. Cryptolith Right allows me to tap my creatures to add mana, basically turning everything into a Birds of Paradise. And enchantresses aren't very good at attacking or blocking, so I'd rather have them make mana. So we'll go with that. Shigeki, Jakai Visionary. It's an enchantment creature that you're allowed to play. It comes back into your hand to go get mana, and then you can replay it. So it's one of those like kind of juggling enchantments that can be really nice. We'll see if that makes it. Song of Freyalise allows me to tap creatures for mana again, and then at the end gives them 1/1 counters, indestructible, trample, vigilance, and then be able to bring that back. So that's a nice little saga to be using. Fertile Ground is just an enchantment that goes on a land that gives you more mana. I should do that too. Utopia Sprawl, same thing. Enchantment Aura going on a land for more mana. Same thing with Wild Growth goes in there. Now they are auras, so they can't be brought back with Anikthea, but they're enchantments that are going to trigger the enchantresses, which are nice. Nessian Wanderer, not an enchant creature, but whenever an enchantment comes into play, you can look at the top three cards and put a land from them into play or into your hand, which is nice being able to potentially play more lands like with Elysian of the Grove. Carpet of Flowers enchantment gets you mana for as many islands as somebody controls. We'll see if it's conditional. It's a great card, but it's conditional, so we'll see. Birds of Paradise, the Elves of the Deep Shadow from the Dark. It's a gorgeous card, but taps for black, pay one life. Avacyn's Pilgrim taps for a white. Um, just I don't have Land of War elves or anything in there. These are more fixers along with ramp because if you have green, you don't need more green necessarily. So I'd much rather have the black or the white. Um, and so I'd rather have the fixing. Soul Ring, yep. Burgeoning and Exploration is going to get lands from my hand into play a lot faster as well. Both enchantments, definitely on theme. So cut one card. We've got to a point where I'm not going to be cutting a lot of cards super easy. Let's run through this really quick, see if there's anything. Yeah. All right. Carpet of Flowers. We're going to cut that just because it's conditional. I think we have plenty of enchantment based ramp along with the oneers. The other thought that I'm having, so I want a handful of one mana dorks, and since I have the 3 mana enchantments that are kind of replacing it, like Dryad, Weathered Treaty, Omen of the Hunt, Courser Crufix, it's to get to that 3 spot a little bit quicker. And that's what I'm hoping to be able to do. And so we'll see where that balance comes from. Um, So we're there. Next bit, we'll go into CMC and see where everything's kind of laying. Just go through it one more time and see if this is the auras might have to go, but I like having the creatures be able to tap for land. I like Shigeki. We'll keep those together. Jakai Naturalist. How many reductionists do we have? Yeah. Sanctum Weaver's bonkers. That's just going to get you there. Calling Heart Expedition, getting lands. Another thing that is kind of important, and so the reason why this is an enchantment creature, so that's kind of nice. The reason why having the auras in an enchantment deck isn't always the best is because you're so enchantment focused that a wrath just wipes you. So focusing in on um getting cards that get you lands into play allows that ramp to stick around. I'm going to cut the auras for now just cuz I love them, but they are the one spot too. All right. So I'm bringing them back. I like them at the one spot. Maybe what we need to be thinking, fertile ground at 2, maybe we can get rid of, and just try and hit that one spot. I like being able to fill my hand up with land because of plenty of the cards. I like it as an enchantment creature. Dryad. Stornheim. Stornheim might get going because I don't have a lot of artifacts, but we'll do that pile next. All right, that one's out. We're good. Let's see here. Get some drink. All right. Saga for drawing. This is going to be the card advantage drawing portion. We'll try and cut in on this too. Actually, I should go back to my ramp, see what I need to 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 19, 20 at most. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7. Need to cut 7 there at least. So going on to drawing card advantage, the War in Heaven, 6 mana saga. When it comes into play, you draw 3 cards, lose 3 life, then you mill 3 cards, and then you can reanimate. So I kind of like that reanimation part too, because it's double dutying for me, even though it's 6 mana. It shouldn't be terrible. Um, but sometimes your enchantresses get wrathed and they're easy to kill. And so it's nice to bring it back because it's mana value 8 or less, and you can get 2, 3 enchantresses back and just start going. So I like that just as a double. Like I don't love it for the card draw or the mill, but having both the draw and the reanimation entices me a lot more. Underrealm Lich is going to allow me to mill stuff into the graveyard. There can be a self mill theme here just so that you have choices on reanimation. Um, so whenever you draw a card, look at the top 3, take 1, mill the other 2, and it can protect itself. Only problem I have is being at 5. Gravebreaker Lamia, 5 mana enchantment creature. When it ETBs, you can go and put a card from your library into the graveyard, which is nice. It's a bit of a tutor, so it allows you to go get one of those big enchantments and then reanimate it with Anikthea pretty quick. Reducing of graveyard spells does nothing for you. So also a little bit of lifelink, so I like it. Path of Discovery. Whenever a creature enters the battlefield under your control, explore, which is reveal its top or look at the top card. If it's a land, put it in your hand. If it's not, 1/1 counter and put it on top or in the graveyard. Um, I like the idea of making an explore deck here, but I'm not. And I've always found that this is a little slow, but I like it as an enchantment. I like it as a self mill card. And so we kind of got some of that going on. Defense of the Heart is a great enchantment that sacrifices itself. So during your upkeep, if one of your opponents controls 3 or more creatures, sack it. Go get 2 creatures from your deck into play. Into play. So it's crazy good. Academy Rector, so 1, 2 for 4, but when it dies, you may exile it and then go and put an enchantment from your deck into play. Now the problem is maybe a lot of people miss this, but if you have instant speed graveyard removal against Academy Rector, you have enough time to exile it. So like a Deathrite Shaman or one of those lanterns, you're able to get rid of it before it exiles. So there it's a trigger, not an instantaneous thing. So if this is something you're playing against, you can do that. Um, I'm not going to play with it. I'm going to cut this one, but I don't get a chance to play with this very often. I feel like it's a good deck to have it in. It's not something I do a lot of. But I don't generally tutor and I try and avoid it. I try and avoid combos as well. If you're new to the channel, getting those 3 mana engines instead. Okay, Jesus. I personally think one drought is way more important than 2 mana ramp, since this is the style of deck that doesn't want to cast their commander early on. Um, I kind of want to Voltron Anikthea a little bit, but there is definitely setup here. You definitely need enchantments that want to be in the graveyard, and we'll see how fast the deck ends up being. So, um, Erebos, God of the Dead. This is another thing that could have been an idea way to go. You could make a god deck out of this. They're enchantments, they gain metas. If somebody's able to get it or mill you, you can bring them back. They're indestructible. That could be a fun route, but the enchantments I don't think have the CMC. And so I don't, they won't play together really nice. But Erebos, God of the Dead, stopping people, your opponents from gaining life. You're able to pay 2 to draw 2 cards. I think I'm going to cut that right now. Yeah. I mean, we got tons of draw here. I don't think we need the help. Vessel of Nessanary. So 1 mana, it is an enchantment, and then you can pay 2, sack it. So enchantments going to the graveyard. You can look at the top 4 cards, put an artifact, creature, enchantment, land, or planeswalker card into your hand, one of them, and the rest in the graveyard. So it does perfect what you want to have happen. Yeah, and I agree with you, Jesus, on the mana ramp. Like I like 1 into 3 better than like tapped into a 2 mana ramp. But I still like 2, but I don't this isn't the deck that I'm going for either. Graveborn Muse, this is one of those zombie leftovers, but you at the beginning of your upkeep, you draw X cards and lose X life, where X is the number of zombies you control. I don't know how many zombies we're going to end up having, but being able to draw 2 or 3, it's going to draw from itself since it's a zombie. So at least it's going to be 1, but the potential to have it be 2 or 3 on upkeep seems really enticing. So we'll see if that sticks around. Erebos, Bleak Hearted. This is whenever a creature you control dies, you can pay 2 life and draw a card. You can also sacrifice another creature to give -2/-1 to another creature. Is indestructible. This is another one that I think this came in the pre-con, not this, obviously, but um, I think I'm gonna get rid of that as well. I don't want my creatures dying. I'm not running many wraths more than I normally do, but they should be one-sided, and if I'm casting them and I'm getting rid of my enchantresses, like, I better be in a pretty good position. I've not been wanting to really brew much from these latest sets, but damn, I'm excited for Eldraine. Eldraine's gonna be cool. I like it. Hold on to your fairies until that set comes out. That's the way to be. I am a little worried they're gonna downpower it and, like, we have higher expectations because Throne was such a good set. It was so fun. There was value and great cards all over the place. So, Eidolon of Blossoms, whenever enchantment comes into play along with itself, we get to draw a card. So great. One thing that you need to pay attention to with enchantments is Constellation is great because it cares about enchantments coming into play, which is what Anikthea is doing. It's putting an enchantment token into play. But a lot of enchantresses care about the casting of enchantments, and we'll point that out. And Narcy, Fable Singer, the new one, 3/3 lifelink. Whenever you sack an enchantment, draw a card. Plenty of sacking enchantments here, and then whenever a final chapter of an ability of a saga you control resolves, each opponent loses X life, and you gain X life, where X is the saga's mana value. So it's a little bit of drain, a little bit of draw. 4 mana might be a little much for it, but we'll see how many sagas end up in the deck. Calyx is gonna go get an enchantment, um, potential removal with the exiling, and the potential of bringing all the enchantments back from your yard. So a new Will and Rowan card. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. I mean, they'll probably become the top royalty since the Kenriths are dead from March of Machine, right? So they should be upgraded to whatever. I don't know. Krufix's Insight, revealing the top 6 cards, put up to 3 enchantment cards from them into your hand, rest in the graveyard. It's doing some work there. Benefaction of Ronus, 3 mana, reveal the top 5 cards. You may put a creature card and or enchantment card from among them. So this is potentially 3 enchantments. This is a creature and an enchantment for 3 mana, and you're putting cards into your graveyard. Wedding announcement. At the beginning of your end step, put an invitation counter on it. If there's 3 or more, flip it, which gives all your creatures +1/+1. If you attack with 2 or more creatures, you get to draw a card, and if you didn't, you get to create a 1/1 token. I don't know how much I like the enchantment, like the attacks and the elemental bond. I think I'm gonna cut them. I'd much rather be probably milling and selecting what cards I have. I don't necessarily super care about drawing triggers per se. So I think I'm gonna get rid of the cards that are very dependent upon certain things that aren't enchantments. So wedding announcement, I think can go. Elemental bond works really well with the 3/3 zombies that are being created, but I think we're gonna cut that for now. Enchantress is present. This is what I'm talking about. Whenever you cast an enchantment spell, draw a card. I like it a lot. But I think this is one that we can kind of cut since it's not. I don't know. I don't know. We'll keep it. Verudian Enchantress. That's another cast an enchantment, draw a spell. Cetessan Champion, which is the constellation of enchantments coming into play. You get to draw a card, a 1/1 counter on it as well. Mason Enchantress is cast enchantment, draw a card. Moon Blessed Cleric. When it ETBs, you may search your library for an enchantment, reveal it, and put it on top. And so this is another one of those tutors. I like that it doesn't go directly into play or um into hand, but still it is very tutorish. And I know that we were talking about like Defense of the Heart earlier where creatures are going directly into play. But it's very much an enchantment that sacrifices itself and being able to bring it back. I kind of want to do that. To whereas this is I'll probably cut that. Necropotence is getting cards in your hand. It's a crazy good card. Uh, but I think I want to just I think we can cut it for now. Same thing with Phyrexian Arena. I like it. I like both of these cards, but I think we have enough playing off of each other that we want more burst stuff. I don't know. I've played with them a lot, so maybe I'm just not worried about playing with them. Um, Treacherous Blessing, 3 mana enchantment, ETBs, draw 3 cards. Whenever you cast a spell, lose a life. And whenever it becomes a target of spell or ability, sacrifice it. So it sacrifices itself whenever becomes a target. We'll see if it makes it. I don't really like the idea of hurting myself, but Satyr Enchanter, cast an enchantment, draw a spell. Growing Rights of Itlimoc, it's an enchantment, when it ETBs, look at the top 4 cards and you may reveal a creature card from it and put in your hand. Otherwise, and then when you have 4 or more creatures, transform it and you get yourself a Gaia's Cradle. Which is a great card as well. The problem that I have with this is that it's a legendary enchantment, and so I can't make more of it. Like, when it comes into play, I wonder they can flip? I don't know if enchantments can't flip, or not enchantments, but tokens can't flip. Um, but I think we get rid of that. I don't think we need that. I don't think we need that. Unmarked grave, search your library for a non-legendary card, put it in the graveyard, and then reanimate it with an Anikthea. So kind of like a tutor, but much more making the the deck do its thing, which is making zombie tokens enchantments. So I'd much rather do that. And we can include Entomb in there too. Go get any card, put it in the graveyard. Grizzly Salvage is looking at the top 5 cards, putting one of them in and the rest in the graveyard. Commune with the Gods is reveal the top 5 cards, put a creature or enchantment card from among them and the rest in the graveyard. So 1 and 1. Chivalric Alliance. So I'm going to keep this one in here. But whenever you attack with 2 or more creatures, draw a card. And then another thing is you pay 2, discard a card to create a 2/2 Knight with Vigilance. Now, the reason why I like this is the discard. I do want some discard outlets in case I get something stuck in my hand. Also making a token that is kind of on theme as well, and the ability to draw cards and enchantment. It's doing a lot of what I want, so I'm going to be happy with that. Spirited Companion, 1/1 ETB, draw a card, enchantment creature. So chump block, dies, bring it back as a 3/3 zombie, draw you a card. Nice little cantrip. Argothian Enchantress, cast an enchantment, draw a card. Sithis is when cast an enchantment, draw a card, gain a life. Ephemeris Enchantress is whenever any enchantment is put in a graveyard from play, draw a card. I'm at least sacrificing a bunch, so that should work. Sylvan Library is a great enchantment. It's crazy good. Crypt Breaker, it's a 1/1 zombie, so you can pay 2, discard a card to put a 2/2 zombie creature token in the battlefield. So it's a zombie. You make zombies, you get that discard outlet that I'm looking for, and then you can tap 3 untapped zombies you control to draw a card and lose a life. Um, so it's cheap enough to really be fine with what's going on. Um, Tabbing 3 zombies is fine. There are some cards in here that won't allow me to attack with anything other than a Nixia. That's the point. And so, um, and having those enchantments that bring back, I don't necessarily want to have them die for no reason. So, Miri's Guile, look at the top 3 cards at your upkeep and then put them back in any order. It's kind of like a bad top. Dockshite, I have a top in here, right? Where the shit did the top go? Oh, did I already cut that? Yikes. I cut it because it was an artifact. All right. Dockside Chef. It's an enchantment creature. You can sacrifice an artifact or a creature to draw a card. Most likely a creature. That's something I like it because it's cheap and it's an enchantment creature and can be brought back if it dies. So it can sack itself to draw a card, I guess. Yeah. Oath of Nissa enchantment. Whenever it ETBs, look at the top 3 cards of your library. Can put reveal a creature, land, or walker. I don't have any walkers that I know of in here. But so a land or a creature, put in your hand, and then basically it's 1 mana, putting a creature into your hand, hopefully, and then you can sacrifice it to something and do it again. Esper Sentinel is just it's almost too good. And just drawing, and then people got to pay 1 or 2 or whatever for you not to draw a card. So some of the cheaper stuff, I want as many enchantresses in here as possible. I like the Grizzly Salvage effect. The Entomb is what we got going on. Treacherous Blessing. I like it as just like it fills stuff your hand back up. RC. Ooh. Defense of the Heart. Path of Discovery. What looks rough? Gravebreaker. I like that it's life link. Pop, 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 pop. All right, let's go down a little bit more. I think. I think. I like. I don't know if I like Mary's Guile in here. Crypt Breaker. Token on the battlefield. I don't know how many zombies I'm gonna have. That's the bad part. That's bad. Um, is there anything I hate? There isn't anything I hate. Ah, a lot of these are just like a little bit of cantrippy. Let's get rid of Treacherous Blessing. I don't know if I have a good way of getting rid of it, and I like casting a lot of spells. Um, the sorceries and instants might have to go. Narcy is kind of like mm, ba, ba, ba. Path of Discovery. Um, let's cut Path of Discovery. War in Heaven. All right. I think we're all right there for now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 28, 29, 30, 31. All right. Still a ton of cards there, but we want to get that down in between 15 and 20 as well. So we'll have to cut that pile in half. Ooh. Let's get through some of these smaller piles. Token creation, endless ranks of the dead. At the beginning of your upkeep, create X 2/2 black zombie creature tokens, where X is half the number of zombies you control rounded down. And so if you have 3, you make 1. When you have 4, you make 2. If you don't have any, you don't make any. And so I don't know if I have, I can make, if you have 1, you don't make any either. Half the number of zombies you control rounded down. Yeah. Um, I like that it's an enchantment. That's why it's here, and I think it can get rolling, but as of right now, it's gonna be something that I cut just because I don't know how many zombies I'm actually gonna be making at the upkeep, 'cause the myriad doesn't allow them to stick around, so I only have, like, 2 cards that do that, though. And then here is another part of the enchantment making. There's a handful of cards that whenever you cast an enchantment, have something happen. These are 2 that Ajani's Chosen and Archon of Sun's Grace are whenever an enchantment comes into play. And so a 2/2 Cat Warrior and a 2/2 White Pegasus, respectively. Um, and then for Rika, I was liking it because it makes enchantment snakes. Um, and so I can kind of control that. But that'd be if I'm eating my own, like, enchantresses that go into the yard, and I'm really hoping that doesn't happen, so let's cut that. Let's just cut that. We'll see what happens there. Um, let's go with the recursion. I've kind of thought about this a little bit, so hopefully I can be aggressive, but the recursion I want to probably be, um, some of the newer ones, some of them that are really on theme. And so we'll see. I like the idea of Demon of Fate's Design. I like Starfield of Nyx. I have a Athreos. Let's be less aggressive. Pull back so we can talk about this a little bit. So Athreos allows me to have whenever a creature dies, somebody can pay 3 life or have it come back into my hand. Again, it's more like protection. It's an enchantment that's indestructible, so I really like that. And then if I can get it into the graveyard, then it's a 3/3 indestructible um zombie. But I don't actually know how that devotion thing is gonna work when it's a 3/3 zombie. Probably shuts it off if I'm not reaching there. So I'm gonna hope that my protection saves my enchantresses. So we'll cut that. Starfield and Nyx allows me to bring an enchantment from my graveyard back to my hand, and then as long as you control 5 or more enchantments, each other non-aura enchantment you control becomes a creature. Equal to its mana cost. So I really, really like that in there. Demon of Fate's design is a new one. 6/6 flying trample. Once on your turn, you can pay life to cast an enchantment from your graveyard, and then you can pay 3, sacrificing another enchantment to give it a boost. So having a little bit of sack outlets is kind of nice too. So I want to keep that. I'm going to cut Eerie or Brilliant Restoration, which brings back all enchantments and artifacts from my graveyard into the play. I don't think I'm going to be doing that much mill. I'm hoping that Anikthea can kind of keep up with with the reanimation stuff, so we'll cut that. Eerie Ultimatum I do want to keep though because it's any number of permanent cards with different names. And so that will allow for my enchantresses and my enchantments and any fetches to come back into play. So I really like the idea of that. Guardian Scale Lord is probably um just a better Sun Titan at this point. But it has backup one, so when you cast this dragon, put a 1/1 counter on Anikthea, it gains flying. It's a 5/5 flying menace for Anikthea, and then whenever the creature attacks, return target non-land permanent card with mana value for Anikthea. It'd be 5 or less from the graveyard to the battlefield, and then when Guardian starts attacking, it'd be 3 or less. And a lot of these are 3 or less that I'm sacrificing. So it'd be kind of like just bringing the enchantment back, not as a 3/3. And I like that idea as well, kind of like a secondary commander. Replenish at 4. This is reserve list as well. And so um I like it at this cost a lot better than Brilliant Restoration. I don't have many artifacts. So this will stick around for a bit. Oromancer, when it ETBs, return an enchantment card from your graveyard to your hand. I ain't gonna hate on that. It's cheap and easy, and if there is a little bit of blink, then there's some nice bits there. No Rest for the Wicked. You can sacrifice it to return to your hand all creature cards put in your graveyard from play this turn. This is one of those enchantments that I was like wanting to sacrifice, but I think I'm going to rely more on my protection spells. So we'll cut that. Satsuki, the Living Lore, taps to put a lore counter on all your sagas, and then when it dies, you can return target saga or enchantment creature you control to your hand that's in play, or return a saga from the graveyard to your hand. 2 mana, speeds up your sagas. I kind of like it at this point, but we'll see how many sagas I end up with. Then Omen of the Dead, enchantment, flash. When it ETBs, return a creature card from your graveyard to your hand, and then can sacrifice to scry 2. So I really kind of like the idea of an enchantment with flash to that raises dead. I'm down with it. I just don't know if it's gonna make it. So we got a couple of cuts in there already. One, two, three, four, five, six, 7, 8, 9, 10. I don't think a replenish is going to do enough, but it's definitely something that I'll keep on my radar. So we'll cut that for now. Omen of the Dead. We'll have some enchantment creatures that die, right? We'll have some creatures that die or chump and just get them back for value. Get rid of that. All right, let's look at some of these little pump cards. Nylea's Colossus. So whenever an enchantment comes into play under your control, double target creature's power and toughness until end of turn. So if you have Nylea's Colossus in play and you cat like Nick Thea's about to attack, you cast an enchantment, turn it into a 4/4 menace, you attack, put one of those enchantment zombies into play, and then it becomes a 16/16 menace. Um, Nylea's Colossus is going to do some work here. So I like how big it can get quick. Ethereal Absolution. Creatures you control get +1/+1. That's another route that I was thinking about going to. Um, you can make a deck of just anthems that are enchantments and then anthem everything. And if people destroy it, you're bringing it back and you're still antheming. It could be fun. But opponent's creatures get -1/-1, and then you can pay for exiling card if it's a creature, 1/1 token. I always have a problem with this being too expensive. I like the idea of discarding it, but I'm gonna cut it for now. It's just not doing enough. Archetype of Finality, 6 mana, 2/3. Creatures your opponents control can't have Death Touch, and all of your creatures have Death Touch. I like that it's an enchantment, being able to bring it back. So we'll keep that hanging around. True Conviction, 6 mana enchantment. Creatures you control have double strike and lifelink and menace. Sounds like a deal to me. Boon of the Spirit Realm, Constellation as well. So whenever an enchantment, it or other enchantments come into play, put a counter on it. For each counter, it gets +1/+1. All your creatures get +1/+1. So nice little anthem effect, and it's gonna at least be 2/2, doing some work there. Obadiah, I snag myself an angel lair. Congrats on that. Do we know if that got sold out today or not? The secret layer angels. So, I know the Discord was pretty some of them were pretty stoked to get it. I did not, um, but that is just, personal preference. All right, Herald of Torment is an enchantment creature. I like it because I can pay 5 to give 3/3 and flying to Anikthea, so 7/7 flying menace that if it dies, this becomes the 3/3. It kinda So I like it just as a little bit of a buff. Obadiah, what's the card you're most excited to get from that Angel Secret Lair? I ran away. Removal, Cacophony Unleashed. If you cast it, destroy all non-artifact enchantments. Whenever you have an enchantment come into play, it's a 6/6 or um Nightmare God. But it's there for the wrath effect to leave your stuff around. I'm down for it. Same thing with Extinguish All Hope, destroy all non-enchantment creatures. So those are the cards that are going to get rid of my enchantresses, a lot of them. So, but it's one-sided. They should be pretty solid. The Eldest Reborn is a saga. First one, every opponent sacrifice a creature. Second one, opponents discard a card. Third one, put target creature or planeswalker card from a graveyard or the battlefield under your control. And then bring back nice removal. Do make giant auto include creatures under your control. Creatures opponents control get -1/-1. So it's all of them. You don't have to like target somebody with it. That's great. Aura of Silence, enchantment that you can sacrifice to destroy an artifact or enchantment. But then it makes artifacts and enchantments pay or cost 2 more for my opponents. It's the game changer. Oubliette phases out an opponent's commander. That's what it's there for. I've heard really good things about it. It's been around forever. Um, but since it's just like commander removal, I think I'm gonna cut it. Probably shouldn't, but I'm going to. Oath of Nissa or Liliana, sorry. When it ETBs, each opponent sacrifices a creature. So it's that enchantment. You can bring it back, stuff like that. I don't have any planeswalkers, so that secondary ability doesn't matter. I'd rather have Eldest Reborn in here, I guess. Yeah, since I'm thinking about getting rid of it, we'll get rid of it. Seal of Doom is something that sacrifices itself to destroy a target non-black creature that can't regenerate itself. I like that idea. Braids Arisen Nightmare. You're sacrificing enchantments or creatures to have other people sacrifice artifacts or enchantments or creatures. And if they don't, draw cards. Aura Shards is destroying artifacts and enchantments whenever a creature comes into play. It's pretty good card, and it's kind of there to get rid of some of my enchantments too, if need be. Cleansing Meditation. Destroy all enchantments if you have Threshold, which you might have in here. Destroy all enchantments, then return to play all cards in your graveyard destroyed this way. Um, did I already I got rid of Consulate Crackdown, but this kind of card is going to do a lot for your constellation cards because it's bringing back those enchantments. And it's going to do some work there. Seal of Primordium and Seal of Cleansing. You sacrifice them as enchantments to destroy an artifact or enchantment. And then they're sitting in the graveyard for Anikthea to reanimate. Sundering Growth, destroy an artifact or enchantment, and then populate, which means you get to make another token of whatever enchantment zombie that you got going on. Populate's going to be a big thing in here. And Soul Snare, you can pay one, sack it, exile target creature that's attacking you or a planeswalker you control. So sacrificing enchantments for some value. Let's see here. I have a lot of stuff that's going to be able to deal with. I think I'm going to get rid of Soul Snare. I hate the idea of it. I don't have many controlled creature removal. It's more just on the wrath part. We might have too much artifact enchantment removal. So that's creature, creature, creature. I'm down for that. Creatures, creatures. Braids is kind of back and forth. But you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pieces of removal for enchantments. Woo wee. Um, let's get rid of aura shards. I mean, I still really like I want it there. Braids is there just for that double duty of drawing you cards or draining. Those are that. I think Oma the Dead can. I'm cutting a lot of cheap cards right now. I don't like the feeling of that, but I think we can get rid of that. And maybe Oromancer as well. Eh. There we go. Where are we at? It's 10. All right, let's go with protection. Get that out of there. There's a lot there. Um, Agent of Shadows Thieves allows me to attack with Anikthea, and it gets Death Touch, +1/+1 counter, and indestructible if I'm attacking the opponent with the most life. Um, I really like the backgrounds that allow me to be aggressive on the player opponent with the most life. So I like it. Cultist of the Absolute, also a background, but my commander would get +3/+3, flying, death touch, and ward 3 life, and then you got to sacrifice a creature. I always kind of forget about that sacrifice a creature bit. It's kind of brutal in here because I don't have a lot of creatures that I want to sacrifice. No, probably not. We'll cut that. Another cheap one. Archetype of Courage. Creatures you control have first strike. Creatures you don't control can't have first strike. So I like that. Familiar Ground. Uh, each creature you control cannot be blocked by more than one creature. Menace creatures have to have two creatures blocking it. Thusly, Familiar Ground gives Menace unblockability. And we like that. So that's a kind of an auto include in this deck, in my opinion. Knighthood creatures, all creatures you control gain first strike. Um, I like it on the creature. I don't know if I like it on the enchantment as much. I think that's something that we can cut if we're trying to be aggressive. Yeah, we're trying to be aggressive. Eerie Interlude allows me to blink my creatures and they come back until end of turn, which is nice for Anikthea. Saves a lot of the enchantresses. We'll stick with it for now. Teferi's Protection just phases everything out. It's kind of nice. Dense Foliage stops people from targeting your creatures, and I'm going to be enchantment based, not instant sorcery based. Um, or auras is bad for auras as well. But I think we have enough enchantment stuff. I kind of want to do Samite Elder, and I should probably talk about the others as well. Do 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 do. Let's see where we're at. Talk about them in the same vein. Mother of Ruins, Giver of Ruins. So these creatures tap to give protections. Samite Elder gives creatures you control gain protection from colors of target permanent you control until end of turn. So all of my creatures, green, black, white. That'd be Samite Elder giving probably indestructible and also the from removal. Giver of Ruins. The great thing about protection is it can save it, but also give you like a certain type of unblockability so they can't block you. And I really like the idea of them in here. allowing my menace creatures to get through. So we'll keep that. Let's go underneath. Um, Rootborn defense, indestructible for all your creatures, and then populate. So those zombie tokens. Solitary confinement, enchantment at the beginning of your upkeep, sacrifice it unless you discard a card. So that discard outlet that I like. You got to draw or skip your draw step. And then you have Shroud, and then prevent all damage that would be dealt to you. Um, I think it's a pretty sweet card in here, and it is in Legacy Enchantress decks, or at least used to be 10 years ago, but we'll see. Dueling Grounds, enchantment, no more than one creature may attack each turn, and no more than one creature may block each turn. So your menace creatures, probably Anikthea, is going unblocked. And then the crackback isn't nearly as severe. Destiny Spinner, enchantment creature. Uh, Enchantment and creature spells can't be countered, and then you can make an elemental pretty big for the number of enchantments that you go have. Lightning Grips, Swiftfoot Boots, and haste and protections. Flicker of Fate, exile target creature or enchantment, so you can protect one of your enchantments as well. Then return to the battlefield until under its owner's control. The great thing about this too is most flicker effects you can only target your stuff, but this allows you to flicker an opponent's stuff. So if they have a big old token, you can flicker it and kill it. So I kind of like that idea. Let's go with the other flicker effect that we want to talk about. Cloud Shift. Do I have one more in here? Nope, I got rid of it. All right, Cloud Shift. Oh, maybe it's in that one. Cloud Shift, exile target creature you control, then return that card to the battlefield under your control. So it's a nice little protection for Anikthea and allows you to. It's not going to avoid an opponent's wrath, but allows you to blink and get another enchantment and play and stuff like that. So Greater Oromancy gives all enchantment shroud that you control. So it kind of kills the blinking. I only have the two cards that blink. I can't equip it, and there's only a handful of equipment in there. I couldn't target it with the ruins, the givers, or eerie interlude. So that would be hard. But it's a good card. So Sterling Grove, other enchantments you control can't be the target of spells or abilities, so it gives them Shroud, and then you can sacrifice and go and find an enchantment and put in your on top of your deck. So goes in. Druid's Deliverance, prevent all combat damage and populate. Populate, like I said, is dope. Heroic Intervention, indestructible and hexproof for your permanents. Reconnaissance allows you to attack real aggressive. So if they do decide that they want to block the menace creature, you can still remove your creatures from combat. Great in any aggressive white deck. Flickering Ward is an aura, but I love it because it gives that protection a little bit, and then you can have it go back and forth by returning it back to your hand. And trigger your enchantresses a whole ton. Mm, we'll keep it. Seed of Life's Bounty, so you can sacrifice it to target creature or enchantment you control gains protection from the color of your choice until end of turn. It's an enchantment creature that can go in the yard. Archetype of Endurance. All your creatures have hexproof. Your opponents can't have hexproof for their creatures. Solid there. Asceticism. Creatures you control can't be the target of spells or abilities your opponents control. Um, I think there's better options just for the enchantments, so I think we cut that. Sphere of Safety. Creatures can't attack you or planeswalkers unless somebody pays X, which is how many enchantments you have. Privileged Position. Other permanents you control can't be the target. It has hexproof. So Privileged Position is in. Silent Arbiter. No more than one creature may attack each combat. So Anikthea, and then no more than one creature may block each combat, which is Anikthea is unblockable. Shalai, Voice of Plenty, giving you and creatures you control hexproof, and you can put 1/1 counters on. It's just maybe a little bit for the enchantresses to gain some attacking ability. And then skeletons you control and other zombies you control get +1/+1 and death touch. We'll cut that one. Death Baron's sweet though. All right, let's go through that batch. Kind of going slow tonight. I don't know what my deal is. I like the hexproof. I don't know how much I like the shroud. Shroud's rough. I don't know how many shrouds I want. Flickering ward. It's always so slow. I like the populate. Grove is definitely one that I like as shroud. Maybe we get rid of greater oromancy though. I just having shroud is rough. And that kind of opens up the blinking a little bit more. The handful of equipment and some of the cards that do the boosts. So solitary confinement still kind of works in there. I like those three. All right, for now, I like those. We can cut these twos as well. All right, and then the token. Uh, Lots of tokens. I like the idea of Legion loyalty. It'll kill in the two copies of Anikthea, but those are ETB effects, even though they die right away. So you can bring back more stuff, and then uh, putting them on one of those enchantments. Myriading something you can sacrifice and destroy. It's just like a lot more bonus. But I think again, I like it's an enchantment. It's 8 mana, something that I can discard and just bring back really easy. Blade of Selves is myriad to the equipped creature. I like them both, but maybe they gotta go. Yeah, I don't know. All right, Song of the World Soul is whenever you cast a spell, populate. I think it's gonna be great in here. Ondu Spirit Dancer. Whenever an enchantment enters the battlefield under your control, you may create a token that's a copy of it. Do this only once each turn. Problem is it's 5 mana. And it's only once per turn. So that makes it tough. I hate that I'm probably gonna cut this, but it's not worth it to just have it happen like once per turn. So cutting. All right. So here's the other one that I was thinking of. So there's a handful of ETB cards that care about that, but at the same time, my enchantresses generally don't. Teleportation circle is just blink artifact or creature at the end of your turn. So I think we cut it. I think we cut it. Growing ranks at your upkeep populate. We'll keep that around for now. Second harvest is an instant. For each token you control, put a token that's in the battlefield that is a copy of that permanent. Um, so it's basically populate. The one nice thing about populate though is it doesn't target. So reminder text: create a token that's a copy of a creature token you control. No targeting. To whereas this one is put a token into the battlefield that's a copy of that permanent for each token you control. Oh, yeah, that might just be populate each creature or each token. I'm down with that. Second harvest is dope. Seeka's Chariot. When it ETBs, you get 2 green cats, 2 twos, and then whenever it attacks, create a token that's a copy of target token you control. So it kind of feeds itself. It's creating more tokens of the enchantments. I like it. Nesting Dove Hawk populates at the beginning of combat, and then whenever a creature token ETBs, put a 1/1 counter on it. It's flying, 4 mana. I like that. Battle of Bretagard. Saga, create a 1/1 human, create a 1/1 elf, and then create a token for each token that you have that has a different name. So, I think it's perfect. Calyx, Guided by Fate. This has whenever an enchantment ETBs, put a 1/1 counter on target creature you control, and then whenever it or an enchantment creature you control deals combat damage to a player. Okay, okay. I thought it was just him, but with or another enchantment creature you control, damage to a player, you may create a token that's a copy of a non-legendary enchantment you control. Do this only once each turn. So, um, I like that a lot. No, just the ability to make more tokens of stuff. Weaver of Harmony, 2/2 enchantment. Other enchantments you get or have that are creatures get +1/+1, and then you can copy target activated or triggered ability you control from an enchantment source. So on that attack or ETB, you can pay 1 to bring another enchantment back from the yard. Dope. Reese the Redeemed. It's there for the 6. For each creature token you control, create a token that's a copy of that creature. I think it's probably too much work, so I think we end up cutting that. Womp womp. All right, next bit, we're gonna Nightmare Shepherd. It is an enchantment creature, has flying. Whenever another non-token creature you control dies, you may exile it and then bring a 1/1 version of it into play. So, it's kind of a better protection bit. If it's an enchantment, it'll trigger all those constellations. Um, I have a feeling people are going to want to get rid of Anikthea. It keeps those enchantresses around a little bit different than Athreos. I like it here better than Athreos. Hallowed Haunting, enchantment. If you control 7 or more enchantments, creatures you control have flying and vigilance. And then whenever you cast an enchantment, this is one of those castings. Most of the stuff I'm going for is just ETBs, but this creature's power, it creates a spirit cleric creature token with its power toughness equal to the amount of spirits you have. Parallel Lives, Mondrak, and Anointed Procession are whenever you're making a token, make double those tokens. So, makes sense in here as well. That's where we're at. That's where we are at. We got some good cuts so far too. We just cut that many. We did more than I thought we were going to do. Let's see here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 38. So we should be in the 120s now. At least. Not bad. Not bad. I'm gonna get a little aggressive here on the drawing and ramping and just kind of look at the curve and try and figure that out here for the bit. All right. Let's place these right. 5, 5, 6, 4, 4 fours, 1, 1, 1, 2, 2, 1. 2, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3. All right. So War in the Heavens. It's at 6 mana, and it's going to put 3 cards in my hand plus whatever enchantresses I have going on. I like that it sacrifices itself. I like that it can potentially bring back creatures. I like the putting stuff in a graveyard. I don't know how much I like the self mill thing going on. Um, so how much we've already talked about this part. Like, how much do I like? I like the 2 mana ones. I don't know if I like the 3 mana ones because that they're taking up the enchantress slot at that point. And 5 is kind of a lot for not an enchantment. I'm okay cutting those at this point. That's 3. War of the Heaven in Heaven is I'm okay with still. Gravebreaker Lamia. Defense of the Heart. Eidolon of Blossoms goes in. I'm meh on those. I really like the idea of Graveborn Muse in here though. Sacrifice an enchantment, draw a card. Whenever a saga goes off, we'll figure that out. Lifelink. So this is one I'll stick around until we figure it out. Look at the top 4 cards here of the deck. You may reveal an enchantment card from among them and put it into your hand. Put the rest on the bottom. Then exile a creature enchantment. And then return all enchantment cards from your graveyard to the battlefield. Um, we're all right with that for now. All right, Enchantress, Enchantress, Enchantress. Da, da, da. We'll stick with those. The Presence is probably the weakest out of them, but I don't know how many we got at this point. We'll do a check on that. I like Grave, Salvage, Commune with the Gods, like Alliance. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I don't even know if I need. I might cut Sylvan Library just because it's so good, and maybe one of those Ristic study effects. Like I don't want to play with it too much because I can get boring. I might have enough draw here anyway. I like Entomb. We're gonna cut Crypt Breaker, but if I'm making a bunch of zombie tokens, that'll get fit back in. I like the idea of Mary's Guile at this point. Dockside Chef, if it was an enchantment and 1 mana, I don't think it'd make it, but it is, so we'll keep it. I like Vessel. I like how much do I like Esper Sentinel? Um, might be one of those things too, like, it's really good. Bring it back in if I need it. Oath of Nissa, getting a creature or land in the hand. Creature land 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 11, 12, 24, 25. Not too bad. Let's just look at how many enchantresses we have. I'm gonna count Femref, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 of them plus these two. I think I can cut Enchantress's presence just because for some reason I want them to be creatures. I guess I don't know. Um, and these are very similar. The reserve list. So if you're looking at building enchantment decks, you pick yourself at least Ephemerith Enchantress up. Should bring me down to 27. All right. For now, that's all right. Let's look at the manas. 5, 3-ish. Let's see here. Dryad. Bop, bop. Oh yeah. Do 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 do. Ones and twos. All right. So we have Nyxborn Ancient. I don't have a problem with that. That makes a ton of sense. Sword of Hearth and Home. I like it as a blinking. Did I cut the enchantment out? Is that what I did? The blinking enchantment? Did I do that? Yep. Teleportation. I'd much rather have Sword of the Hearth and Home in. Mirror's Wake still makes a ton of sense to me. Dryad, Courser, Weatherseed, Omen, Starheim, Courser. I don't have many artifacts, like I said, but having more enchantment reductions is kind of nice. Drinky? All right. I like this getting lands in the hand, land on the battlefield. It's slow. It's slow, but I like that little bit of juggling. That's why I didn't want to get rid of the aura that does it. I like the idea of Song of Freyalise, Cryptolith Rite, and if I had Earthcraft in, I keep on bouncing it from deck to deck to deck that I like it in. Basically every green deck. Earthcraft is crazy good. If you have the money or the credit at Card Kingdom, go get it. Putting lands into play for free is always crazy. Sanctum Weaver, yeah, yep, yep. Do I care about the Jukai Naturalist? I like the lifelink. Colney Heart. I keep on looking at the Jukai Naturalist sideways. We will cut that for now. All right. 1 1 1 1 1 1 1. Um that's something. Oh man, I do not want to get rid of the secret layer ones. Damn you, awesome art. Um let's see where we're at. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 89, 26. That's still about 10 over, just like drawing. All right, let's get this the full thing, just seeing where our curve is at. Twos. Just look at that whole thing and just look at what we're doing. 3. That we have some 4 still on there. All right. 2, 4. 2, 1, 2s and 4. 4, 5, 6. It's going to be hard to cut the token doublers, but I think I'd rather have populate if I'm being forced to choose. That's kind of the thoughts that I'm having right now. 5, that's heavy. 2s. 3. 3. 2, 2, 2. 3. 5 or 6. 5 or 6. 2, 5, 6, 5, and 4, 4. All right, couple of things that are half standing out to me right now. I'm probably going to get rid of the Death Toucher, but we'll look at this and see where we're going from there. All right, still like Eerie, Ultimatum, Colossus, Cacophony, Archetype of Endurance. I like creatures you control have hexproof. All right. We'll have to sit down and think about that. And then tripling up your mana might not even be necessary. That's what I've always found. Like it just puts it over the fucking top. But I didn't hate any of that. Like Pain Life. So I think Archetype of Finality can go off that list. We got plenty of 1, 2, 3. You know, I'm just looking at the big spot. I don't think we need. I like the hexproof idea. I like protecting my stuff. I'm a saver, not a breaker. True Conviction gets stuff going. Menace, death touch, or not death touch, but double strike and lifelink seems solid. All right, we're fine with that at this point. Like Starfield of Nyx, Guardian, yeah. Doomwake, Privileged Position. I don't hate any of that, but that's plenty. We got to figure out where are we going to cut? What is going on here? What are we going to cut in this area, huh? Oof. Oof. All right. Give me 1 second. 4 spot. Let's see what we got going on here. Archon of Sun's Grace, token. How much do we care about that? They are not. All right, okay with that. Keep that. All right. Shall I say? Yeah. We'll have to sit down and see how many cards just give everything hexproof or shroud or some type of protection. All right. Populate. This might be too slow. I'm at least okay with being aggressive with Asika's Chariot. Let's say that growing ranks is too slow. I like the idea of parallel lives, anointed possession, 2 other artifacts and or creatures, and then put indestructible on it. Twice that many tokens. Yeah, I want that. I like that. Nightmare Shepherd still makes a ton of sense to me. Defense of the Heart. What am I gonna go get? Is like I guess the question. Calyx? Ooh. I'm gonna admit, I don't know if I love these two. We'll get rid of Narcy and Calyx. I'm gonna hate buying the pre-con if I'm just cutting all of the cards that were in there. Brutal. Brutal if that's what I'm doing. I think we get rid of these two. I think any other tokens being made, it just doesn't matter. We're just trying to populate some of these enchantments and get some different things going. I could be right. All right. Yeah, I think we're gonna have to go through and look at how many of these. I mean, I'm okay with this. It's giving everything flying and vigilance and making tokens, even though it's a cast. Ugh. Defense of the Heart would end up going and getting. I'm okay with the Lamia. Doom Giant would be good. Scale Lord maybe, but Demon's Fate's Design would be good. Colossus would be good. Archetype next. Okay, there's some options. I'd be okay with Defense of the Heart. You know, Mondrak, whatever I would need. Yeah, there's definitely some options. I'm not mad about any of that at this point. Oromancer. All right, I dig it. Various protection. Familiar ground. I'd rather have first strike than it's at least playable versus the death touch one. Death touch one is just like 6 mana. Oof. Solitary confinement. Samite Elder. Very interlude. I have indestructible. We don't necessarily need the blink at that spot. Maybe the blink just doesn't really make it. It might though. Like Calyx, Battle, Starnheim. Just another 3 spot for the mana. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm okay with that. That 2 spot. Let's see here. All right, Satsuki. Death Touch, Indestructible, 1/1 counter on it. Menace, 5/5. We'll see. Destiny Spinner, yeah. Weaver, Spirited. Like that 2 mana spot. Gothian Enchantress. I think I'm okay with Femrith Enchantress being there because it's just whenever an enchantment is died. So if somebody wraths me, I can draw a bunch of cards. To whereas like Narcy, you have to sacrifice them. Colony Heart Expedition, Arcane Signet, Herald, Starfield, Sanctum, Poser, yada yada yada. Ooh, ooh. I think Shikigi goes. I don't think I need it. We have a lot in that 2 spot, but not necessarily something I love. This creature attacks a player. No opponent has more life. He's death touch as well. A little bit of drawing, a little bit of milling, a little bit of stuff, right? Yeah, still way too many cards. I'm gonna have to. All right, protections. I like the idea of Cloud Shift. I think we're gonna go through it. We'll cut the 2 mana version, even though that can get rid of tokens, your opponent's tokens. Let's just get rid of that. Still keep a little bit of Cloud Shift going. Reconnaissance allows me to potentially have more creatures unblocked and then pull them out with the Menace. Alseid of Life's Bounty. I don't know how much I like this versus Mother and Giver or Ruins. It's something that can protect an enchantment, though. Okay. Oath of Nissa, Vessel of Arsensi. I'm gonna get rid of Dockside Chef. I don't think that's necessary. And I kind of want to get rid of Oath of Nissa. I like that it can come down and just grab me a creature, though. Rampart Brant, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Plenty of 1-drop manas. See if I can get this straight. It feels like I'm going more and more crooked as I'm doing this. All right. Card types. That's where we're going with this. Creature. Let's see here. That is an enchantment. All right, that is nice. And then this way, what I'm going to see how many sagas I have and how many creatures that are enchantments, because that's going to be important. See what's going on. All right, sorcery. Braids is going to do some work, though. All right, cutting braids. I don't think that's necessary. Let's see here. Sorcery. All right. More instance than I kind of was thinking would happen. They kind of all make sense. I like the populate here. I got to remember how many populates there are. Instant speeding, tomb, cloud shift. I like second harvest. I think. I like Teferi's protection. Indestructible, fog, destroy. Da, 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 da. So if I had to cut something here, might be second harvest. But it's not going to be anything right now. Eerie ultimatum, extinguish, yada yada yada. I like those as well. Artifacts are thin. I'd rather have second harvest than Asika's. This needs to just attack. Creates its own token. So that is one thing that I really like. So ramp protection, ramp. Let's see here. Just the ability to make its own tokens is really nice with that chariot. Woof. All right. Hard cuts. Let's see here. Enchantments. Reread it. All right. 7 mana. When it enters ETBs, if you cast it, destroy all non-enchantment creatures. That should be fairly one-sided wipe. Whenever it or another enchantment enters the battlefield under your control, until end of turn, it becomes a legendary 6/6 Nightmare God creature with Menace and Death Touch. It's still an enchantment. Still an enchantment. Okay, that's kind of nice. All right. And then we have War in Heaven. We've already read that one. That is a saga. I like Song of the World Soul here. True Conviction. Starfield and Next. Let's reread that one. At the beginning of your upkeep, put an enchantment from your graveyard to the battlefield. As long as you control 5 or more enchantments, each other enchantment you control is a creature, and it has base power and toughness equal to its converted mana cost. Okay. Ugh. All right. Boon of the Spirit Realm is going to give everything a boost. I like that. Eldest Reborn is some nice removal and a little bit of recursion. Privileged Position. Sphere of Safety. Mary's Wake. Yeah. Ground. Aura. Seal of Doom. Solitary. Dueling Grounds. Battle. Weather Seed. Omen. Fraley's Song. Cryptolith. Colony. Hmm. Hmm. Not a lot of sagas. Wow. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right. That's good to know. Definitely good to know. Okay. Do I care? What do I care about? That's mana. That's mana. That's doubling tokens. How much creature removal am I worried about? Not really. And how much recursion do I have? Probably enough. I'm willing to cut those two. So we're not caring about sagas really. So that means that green white guy can go away. All right. Wild growth, Utopia sprawl, burgeoning, exploration, oath, vessel, Mary's guile. Do I care about guile? That's a thing. Um, we'll keep it around. I can dig it. I can dig it. Keep that. Sterling Grove. Omen. Duly Grows. Solitary Confinement. I like that. Okay. I have Shroud. Prevent all damage that would be dealt to me all I have to do is skip my draw step and discard a card. And so, am I thinking that Enchantress is just start moving? Seal of Doom, of Silence, yeah. Fence of the Heart, plenty to go there. Mary's Wake, Sphere, Privileged, boom, 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 boom. Too many enchantments, but we gotta cut somewhere. All right. Creatures. All right. Hexproof, tripling. Okay. And we also want to divide the two. So enchantments as we're going. Yep. Pretty good. Let's see here. Enchantment. Not enchantments. Nope. Satsuki, the Saga Care can go away. Bop, bop. All right, so fairly even, but I think we want to keep a lot of that. That can save enchantment 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 9, 10. I don't love the Lamia. Lamia. But just having consistency there is nice. All right, boom, boom. That's hard to get rid of. I think I'm running into the next bloom ancient problem for me is that it's just so much mana generated. Like too much? Is that weird to say? That's weird to say. Put it in the comments. That is weird to say. But I think we're going to use that as a reason. Bad reason, but it'll be a reason. I still like the idea of the protection gals. Femref Enchantress. Maybe. Maybe. Gothian. Yeah. Like the land in the hand. These the same guys? I don't know. I can't never tell them apart. Starnheim Courser. I think we'll cut that guy, even though there's a lot of enchantment creatures there, though, too. That helps. Bop, bop. Ba-da-da-da-da. I like that it's cheap. Shall I? Bring stuff back. We'll run it through its jobs, but first I want to see how many like mass protection things I have going on. I don't know. That's kind of a mass protection thing. Well, bippity boppity boop. Mass protection. That's kind of what's going on there too. I will. See here. Um, that's a little bit different. It's more combat oriented. Mid. That's plenty. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. All right, let's take a look at that. Um, we don't need them all, right? So these two are just creatures. Well, that's technically creatures as well, but it gives that little bit of unblockability to go on. These two are, that's everything, but that has populate. And this has everything too. And that's an everything, and that's just enchantment. So creatures, everything. Well, yeah, that's creatures as well. Enchantments, everything, just creatures. But I really like Sterling Grove as a little bit of a tutor that I already said I hate, but we'll do that. I like Rootborn defense. I think Shalai has to go. Ugh. Since I got rid of Nyx Bloom, that's fine. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Do we get rid of Samite Elder as well? Probably. That's feeling better. Better. All right. And then let's maybe look for. We'll start setting this up. Boop. Protections. Draw. Protection. Removal. Manas. Token production. Nope. It's out there. We will consider that manas. It's protection. Reanimation. Removal. That is protection. It's here for the tokens. Mana. We'll consider that protection. Draw. Protection. Consider that like a boost or something. Token. Removals. Still gonna have to. Maybe that goes there. Is that what's going on? It's a little bit different there. Oh, there's no crackback though. Okay. Mana, that is a token doubler. Token doubler. Protection, Wrath. There's that. Boom. Let's more protection, honestly. But that's a boost. Animation. We'll consider that reanimation just so we're not making like a token pile anymore. Draw, boost, animation, draw, token, graveyard, draw, 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 draw. And 1, 2, 3, and protection. Okay. So we got rid of the token thing. Let's look at these. One, allowing for more tokens. I like Weaver. If it was just this, I'd cut it just like I did with the artifact version. But giving all of the enchantments +1/+1 is pretty huge. Know your procession. I like making the copies. Da, 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 da. I'll just be kind of once. I like, okay, let's see here. I like World Soul. I like Weaver. Bomb. 1, 2. We need to have the enchantments deal damage. That's damage. That's everything. And then that's a populate. This can get big-ish, especially after one of these two. I think we're gonna have to cut Asika's, even though I think it'd be great in here as well. I think Second Harvest is solid. Calyx is great. Any number of artifacts, tokens, and or creature tokens you control with different names. For each of them, create a token that's a copy of it. Yeah, so I like that. Nesting Dovehawk. We're not making a ton. Maybe we can cut Nesting Dovehawk too. And then we have a respectable 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 amount. We have some populate. We have 2 or 3. We have 3 more over in there as well. I'm okay with that. I didn't count how many cards we had left. All right, I'll do that after this. Remind me. All right, remind me to recount how many cards I have after this, because I probably wanna stop here soon ish. That's all right. I mean, we're moving along. I've made plenty of cuts. Let's see here. Plenty of cuts, right? You've all seen what's going on. You kind of see the deck. You got the feel of what's going on. So I like the idea of Anikthea being unblockable. So I like Familiar Ground a lot. Hallowed Haunting is going to make some tokens. I like Boon of the Spirit Realm because it's going to make. It's a constellation deck. So making those dorks and or enchantresses a lot bigger is nice. Herald of Torment might be something that has to go. Yeah, I guess 3, 4, 5. Kind of just like those. I'm gonna have to lay into these 3 piles, I believe. All right. So Eerie Ultimatum might get cashed out a lot quicker. I like Stave, Demon, Knight, Guardian. I like them all. Sheesh. 5, 6. We'll cut Guardian Scale Lord, I guess. Nope, that's using pile. We'll cut that. Let's see here. That's such a backup card. I like it. This is the deck to use it in. I love that card. Um, so I think Eerie Ultimatum. We'll get rid of that as well. So just a handful of cards. All right with that. All right, let's look through that removal. One, two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight, nine. I think that's pretty clean. I don't have any problems with any of these cards at this point. All right. We have too many protection cards. That sounds silly. You know what? Well, okay. Protection, that's messing with that. That's helping blockers. That'll be protection. Destiny Spinner. I don't even know what that's doing there. It's going to make it hard to attack you. It's kind of what those are doing. I haste the haste part is going to be pretty important, but also that. Um, I think I can get rid of Agent of Shadow Thieves. Like I have one, two, three cards that would allow me to go uncontested for 5. Because I do want these in here because I don't know, it feels like they'll work. Is that right though? Agent of the Shadow Thieves can go. This is just an attacking deal as well. I might have to go through and see how many. I like that's the populate part, and then just everything's protected. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's kind of its own deal. All right. Looking at everything. This is dealing with combat. I like that. You have Shroud. I think solitary confinement's probably going to have to go. Probably works. 4. Familiar ground is kind of there as well. It's a 5 spot. I think I'm going to have to get rid of these guys. I really like the idea of them here, but they're just not needed. Unfortunately, they're not enchantments. So we're starting to shrink these piles a bit. I still like the idea, like these are very castable. I have plenty of cards that want to be blocking. Cloud Shift has an ETB on it and is just perfect for Anikthea. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 17. Still just a ton. Just a ton. All right, so I think we get rid of Cloud Shift. 16. Happy with these at this point. Fairly unique here. All right. And then we're just kind of looking at what do we want to like to populate. Sterling Grove is one of those cards. And so my gut says that I want to get rid of these two, but they're enchantments. I like having everything have hexproof. Maybe we get rid of all the creatures having hexproof and then give everything for now. Stick with that. That's still a stack though, like 15. 14, 15. So for now. All right, drawing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 20. Well, we're not doing half bad there. All right. Let's see if we can cut a few more. Okay. I like the idea of Femref Enchantress. I like that still. Anything Graveboard Muse? We'll get some shit rolling if I'm not. All right. I think we can cut Lamia out. Defense of the Heart. I'm still down with Chivalric Alliance. Attack with 2 or more creatures. Draw a card. Rough. Rough, rough, rough. I still have Oath of Nissa. I think we'll keep that in there. All right, with both of those. So we got rid of 1, 2, 2. All right, 18. Not bad. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. 24. So we want to cut like at least 6 on this round. Let's see where our CMCs are, sitting just with the manas. Two. All right. I like both of those, make a ton of sense to me. It's hitting a lot of creatures that are enchantments, so I like both of them. I like Starnheim. It might be a little expensive, but I got rid of the Jukai guy. All right. Songs of Freyalise. What did I say? I have like 8 enchantresses that might just be sitting around. This gives it a little bit of a boost. Oh. All right. One thing that I was just thinking about is maybe the first strike guy. No, I'll keep the first strike guy. It creates great blockers. Song of Freyalise can go. Almost no sagas at this point. Yikes. Yeah, those make sense. I like the lands in the hand. I like being able to play the lands, put more lands into play. Land, land, land. Burgeoning Utopia Sprawl. Yep. I didn't cut enough. Well, I only cut 1. Definitely didn't cut enough. All right, let's see how many we got here. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 20. 20. 20. Ooh, not too bad. 82. 82 is not bad. About 20 more cuts. Or about 2 hours. So I think what I'm going to do here is just do CMC order one more time. And then kind of look at it from there. I know that I got to cut some manas. I kind of like where my piles are ending up. The protection's too big, the mana too big. And then, there's just a couple of tight spaces there. But let's look at this spot. See where this goes. 2, 3, 4. That there. Let's Bring that back a little bit. Fours. See how things look. One. Fours. Looking to half-ass respectable piles here. All right. Yep, I don't. These top ends, they're pretty top end. They'll turn. I like that. So 5, 6s, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, I like that. True conviction. It's probably fine. That'll turn the game. Yeah. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Let's see here. What do I not necessarily love? Kind of like them all. Privileged position is probably the only one that I hate, but I kind of want it in here. And if I'm cutting anything, it might be heroic and protection, just because they get played so much. But the nice thing is that they protect against the creatures and the enchantments, which is kind of what I need. Um, hmm. I think we can cut privileged position. Might be able to come back with dense foliage at this point. I don't have a ton of spells that target at this point, and that can potentially. That's only creatures though, but still, I don't know. For some reason, I really like the idea of Graveborn Muse. It's one of the few cards that'll draw me cards that aren't enchantment, like needing an enchantment to have some type of action. And so, life loss. I mean, there's enough petty life gain in here that I can be happy too. Silent Arbiter. Right, Procession, Parallel Lives, Mondrak, Glory Dominus. Control 7 or more enchantments. Whenever you cast an enchantment, create a 1/1. It'd be a 1/1, then a 2/2. I don't think I have many spirits after that, but that's kind of just kind of a win con on its own. Not too much there, did I? All right, let's try and cut something here, Lau. Come on. Anointed Procession. Mondrak. Do I cure? I give it indestructible, but it's not really enchantment. Let's cut Mondrak just cause. Kind of like a chariot situation. Seems good. See how it goes. All right. We were able to cut one from the 4 spot. That's what you need. Dryad, Courser, Tessin. They just become helpless. All right, what do we like? I like my stuff having first strike in this deck for some reason. Doing something with those enchantresses if they get puffed. Maybe they're just too expensive, and protection's just played a ton. So try and get some new blood in there. Poser of Spring, yeah, yep. I like both of them together. Still like Cryptolith, right? Just a little bit of stuff to do. Arcane. Did I have to? No. Yeah, you can just remove it. So if it's about to die, I can just do it then. All right. Populate. Destiny Spinner. Still like the idea of just everything getting indestructible, and then I can at least block and maybe kill some stuff. Bop, bop, bop. I didn't get anything in the twos. I'm okay with that. What's this one spot? I don't always have a forest. I think Utopia Sprawl can go. Da, da. Where did we? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Is that right? I am not 100% sure. All right, let's see. 1, 2, 3. 30. 30. Zoop. 17. So we're at 77. So we only got like 5 cards. All right. I don't hate it. What did I say? 77? All right. Let's. Couple of things that I want to check is how many actual enchantments do I have? That's including creatures. I feel like there's enough. Oh, it's a legendary enchantment. I don't know if I care about that necessarily. Toot. So the thing is check how many enchantments are going to sacrifice themselves and be in the graveyard at the end. Either way, it's fine, but you want to see how many are there, how consistent it is when you're doing that. There are plenty of enchantments in there. All right, how many sacrifice themselves? and go to the graveyard fairly easy. Might be the next thing is what goes where. Whoa. Oh. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. We basically don't want any of that to go away at this point. Okay. Oath of Nissa being a legend. Creature, land, or planeswalker. Creature, land. For 1 mana, get that. Look at top 3. Same reason for Nissa. Just like the ability to see a little bit of cantripping. Make it hard to attack. We got 1, 2, 3 of those. Plenty that I don't want to get rid of. Hopefully. There's enough there. Plenty of enchantments, though. Should be drawn live on a lot of that with the enchantresses. Just start cantripping. I think I said 77. That's how many we have. Probably go through and just pile it up in usages one more time just to look through everything. Yeah. All right. Slowing down on the angles, seeing what's there, what's not. All right. Protections. To start. Manas. Draw. Let's see here. Draws. Let's get rid of Signet. It's 1. I think I'd rather, well. Sitting here thinking, I think I'd rather have Signet in here than not. Put a little bit of graveyard. Manas, that's protection. All right. All right, last go around. We'll do a count and probably be good. If you enjoyed it, hopefully you did. Hit that like button. Woo! And thanks for watching, everybody. Hopefully you got to see some new cards, some new thoughts. We'll just see where we're going. All right, reanimation stuff. Well, we're down to one, two, three, four spots. A little bit. I don't have any blank anymore, so probably doesn't matter. Um, because that's enchantments. That's enchantments. That's creatures. I don't. I don't hate any of that. Token manipulation. How many are going to happen? Um. Okay, that's up there. It's kind of. Yeah, those two make sense to me. That definitely does. Weaver, yeah, there's plenty of enchantment effects that'll trigger, so that doesn't just have to be there. Calyx, yeah, makes a little bit of blockage. Removal, two, three, four, five, seven, eight, nine. Yeah, that's all there. I like that. Protection pumps. Let's see here. Two, three, four, five, six, eight. Oh, I'm getting tired. Getting tired. Two, three. We can cut Silent Arbiter. Eh? I don't know. Like I said, I like that unblockability that it gives. We'll bring that back. We'll bring that back. That's three cards in here that give my menace stuff unblockability. There's just so much. Don't have a lot of sacrifice things anymore. There was, and then 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 18. I don't. Maybe one in here that I could cut. Yeah. Yeah. We can keep it. Mana. 8, 9, 20. Let's try and cut it down a couple. I like those. Colony Heart Expedition isn't crazy fantastic, but it's what I want to have happen. Sanctum, Courser, Mirari, Wild Growth, Burgeoning. Both of those. 1, 2, 3. Yikes. All right. Yep. Hitting a dead spot here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 30. 30. 16. All right. So 76. I think I'm going to sign off here. I only got about 13 left to cut and get it down to roughly 63. Um, I like to generally be playing about 37 lands in three color, 37, 38. Um, and so we'll work those in. I'm probably going to go through everything that I've cut and see if anything else needs to go back in and then reduce from there. It's kind of like a little bit of a reduction if you're cooking. You just want to boil it down and see what ends up being there. So Hopefully you enjoyed it. Anikthea Hand of Erebos. We will eventually have this up on our Mox field, Commander Smith's Mox field. You can see how it turns out. We're probably going to be playing a game next week. If you want to check that out, we'll probably live stream it on Wednesday against two of our patron members. We got to figure that out at this point. And I'll probably be playing this or the Balrog of Durin's Bane. We'll see where I'm at with this bad boy. I'm finishing it up. Um, Otherwise, appreciate you watching. Thanks for watching. Sign offs. Yeah. All right. Bye.